sklearnsetconfig. Description. The setconfig function in scikit-learn sklearn provides a way to modify global settings that affect how sklearn operates. It allows you to control aspects like the default display format for data, the verbosity of warnings, and the parallelism strategy. Inputs. Config. This is a dictionary-like object containing key-value pairs that represent the desired configuration settings. Each key corresponds to a specific configuration option, and its value determines the desired behavior. Outputs. None. The setconfig function doesn't directly return any values. Instead, it modifies the global settings of sklearn, making the changes persistent for subsequent operations. Steps. Setting options. The function takes the provided configuration dictionary and updates the internal settings of sklearn based on the specified keys and values. Applying changes. Once the settings are modified, the changes take effect immediately. Future calls to sklearn functions will use the updated configuration. Metrics. There are no specific metrics associated with setconfig as it doesn't perform any data analysis or model training. Visualization plots. No visualization plots are directly generated by setconfig. Fine-tune parameters. There are no fine-tuning parameters for setconfig itself. Uncertainty methods. There are no uncertainty methods related to setconfig. Challenges and fixes. Challenge 1. Setting incompatible options. If you try to set a configuration option to an invalid value, e.g., a string where an integer is expected, it may lead to unexpected behavior or errors. Sample use case that resulted in challenge 1. Attempting to set print function to an invalid string value. Python. From sklearn, utils import config. Config. Setconfig print function invalid string incorrect configuration. Fixes to challenge 1. Ensure you use valid values for each configuration option as documented in sklearn documentation. Refer to the documentation for accepted data types and values for each configuration key. Challenge 2. Overriding default settings unintentionally. Using setconfig can inadvertently override existing default settings, leading to unexpected changes in how sklearn functions operate. Sample use case that resulted in challenge 2. Accidentally changing the default display setting without realizing. Python. From sklearn, utils import config. Config. Setconfig display off. This turns off all default displays. Fixes to challenge 2. Carefully review the configuration options you are setting and their potential impact on sklearn's behavior. Be aware of the default settings and ensure your modifications are intentional. Consider using a dedicated configuration file to manage settings consistently. Challenge 3. Inconsistency across multiple scripts or environments. If you use different configurations for different scripts or environments, it might lead to inconsistency in how your code behaves. Sample use case that resulted in challenge 3. Setting the verbosity level to warning in one script and debug in another. Python. Script 1. From sklearn, utils import config. Config. Setconfig verbosity warning. Script 2. From sklearn, utils import config. Config. Setconfig verbosity debug. Fixes to challenge 3. Maintain a centralized configuration file or use environment variables to manage settings consistently across your projects. This ensures that the same configuration applies across all relevant scripts and environments.